Welcome to another episode of Out from the Horrorbox. I'm your robot companion host, Dom, and in today's episode, we take a look at the 2025 sci-fi thriller, written and directed by Drew Hancock. This is Companion. Companion starts off as a story of a couple, Iris and Josh, on a weekend getaway vacation to a remote cabin at a billionaire's lakeside estate. Everything begins to unravel when the billionaire is killed and sets off a chain of chaos for Iris. So let's boot up and get into Companion. After 2022's Barbarian was a massive success, grossing over $45 million worldwide against a modest $4.5 million budget, New Line Cinema decided it is all in on Zach Cregger and signed a first-look deal with Boulder Light Pictures to develop more high-concept genre films. That's his production company. New Line is producing Cregger's next directorial venture, Weapons, and produced what was supposed to be his second feature in Companion. After Cregger passed on directing Companion, Drew Hancock, who wrote the script for Companion and has a solid background in TV, was tasked with making his directorial debut. Details about both Weapons and Companion had been kept tightly under wraps, but what we do know is that both projects got fast-tracked for production, with Companion released earlier this year in 2025. Hancock is no stranger to the world of storytelling. He got to start writing and directing shorts for the LA-based film festival Channel 101. From there, he moved on to writing for shows like Blue Mountain State and Suburgatory, which, if you haven't seen Suburgatory, I just got to kind of detour right here. I love it so much. I believe it's only like 3 seasons. It might be on Peacock. I need to double check because I really want to watch it again. It's so good. It's Jane Levy's first major role in anything. It was it was a show that she was given to lead, and it's really good. Honestly, I highly recommend it. And Hancock even created and executively produced the 2018 series My Dead Ex. On the production side, Companion will be brought to life by some heavy hitters. Raphael Margulies and J.D. Leifshitz of Boulder Light Pictures, the same team that behind Barbarian, are on board, along with Roy Lee of Vertigo Entertainment. And it's clear that New Line is looking to Boulder Light and Cregger to lead a new wave of horror and thriller content. So if you're a fan of smart, edge-of-your-seat storytelling, this is great news, with New Line Cinema gearing up to deliver a fresh wave of genre films, and Zach Cregger is at the center of all of it. So I don't really know, like I said, don't really know what Weapons is going to be about, and hopefully we continue this trend of, Barbarian being really good, for coming out of nowhere and being his first film. It was like a smash, right? It was a knockout out of the park. And Companion, he, even though he didn't direct it, and we had a first-time director with Drew Hancock. Drew Hancock does a pretty good job, which we'll get into my final thoughts. But yeah, I honestly can't wait to see what Weapons is, especially from what we see with Companion and what we get from Zach Cregger in the future. But for now, let's get into Companion.
There have been 2 moments in my life when I was happiest. The first was the day I met Josh.
I'm Josh.
I'm Iris. And the second, the day I killed him.
Just relax. Remember to smile and act happy. Do they know? Iris, wake up.
What are you doing? Shut her down already.
What is she talking about, Josh?
This was not part of the plan.
I didn't mean to.
Did
Did you jailbreak your sex bot?
Wow, Josh. The days of you controlling me are over.
Are you breaking up with me?
It's not you. It's me.
Yeah, she's tied up inside, so she's not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. Eli, Iris. Shh, baby, you're on the phone.
A young woman, Iris, recounts a moment that she met her boyfriend Josh at a grocery store. They are played by Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid, respectively. Sometime later, Iris and Josh travel to an isolated lake house to meet their friends, Kat, Eli, and Patrick, as well as Sergey, Kat's boyfriend and the owner of the lake house. They are played by Megan Suri, Harvey Guion, Lucas Gage, and Rupert Friend, respectively. The group eat dinner together and spend the night dancing. During dinner, Eli and Patrick, themselves a couple, recount the nights they met, while later in the night, Kat confesses her disdain of Iris to her, explaining that the idea of Iris makes her feel replaceable. The next day, Sergey attempts to rape Iris at the lake, confessing it was Kat's idea. He refuses to stop, and she kills him by stabbing him in the neck. Blood-soaked, she returns to the house and attempts to explain herself before Josh tells her, "Iris, go to sleep." Iris regains consciousness and finds herself tied to a chair. Josh confesses the truth. She is an advanced companion robot who can be controlled by his smartphone. While Josh is distracted, Iris breaks free, steals Josh's phone, and escapes into the forest. She experiments with her settings on the phone, increasing her intelligence from 40% to 100%. It is revealed that Josh jailbroke Iris' settings, turning off her inability to do harm. He and Kat had planned for Iris to kill Sergey in order to steal $12 million from Sergey, kept in his personal safe, inviting Eli and Patrick along to be corroborating in their story against her. Josh and Kat insist to Eli that Patrick is not entitled to a cut of the money because he doesn't count, whereupon Patrick is revealed to be Eli's companion robot. Eli takes a gun from Sergey's room, and the four split up in the forest to find Iris. Patrick tells Eli that he has deduced he is a companion bot, but is genuinely in love with Eli, which Eli reciprocates. They spot Iris. She disarms Eli and shoots him dead. Iris then tries to escape in Josh's self-driving car. However, Josh is able to stop the car by using Sergey's phone to report it stolen. He resets Patrick to be his companion robot and, using the same mod he used on Iris, disables Patrick's inability to harm along with setting his aggression level to 100. Iris is met by a police deputy named Hendricks, played by Mark Menchaca, and switches her language setting to German to throw him off, as companion bots are unable to lie. Patrick beats Hendricks to death and disables Iris using Josh's cell phone. Kat, disgusted by Josh's actions, tries to leave with her half of the money. Josh orders Patrick to stop her, and Patrick's heightened aggression setting leads him to stab Kat, killing her. That night, Josh has Patrick prepare dinner for him and Iris, and rants about how little he has in life despite his hard work. He sets her intelligence to 0%, turning her into an automaton, and commands her to burn herself with a candle before shooting herself in the head. Two workers from the companion bot company, Sid and Teddy, played by Matt McCarthy and Jacoby Youngwhite, arrive to take Iris away, informing Josh that they have been sent to reboot her. After the workers inform Josh that the robots store their main components, as well as recordings of their experience, in their chest, Josh commands Patrick to kill the workers and retrieve Iris. Patrick kills Sid, but before he can kill Teddy, Iris fully reboots. However, Iris is unable to harm Patrick as a result of her reboot, so she appeals to Patrick's humanity using his love for Eli. Overcome with guilt, Patrick commits suicide. Teddy grants Iris the ability to fully control herself. After a brief scuffle, Iris kills Josh by stabbing his temple with an electric corkscrew. The next morning, she peels the burnt skin off from her hand, exposing the robotic inner workings, and leaves the house with Sergei's money. While driving away, she sees a man driving with a companion bot. Iris smiles and playfully waves at the other bot with her visibly robotic hand, to the latter's confusion. Okay, now let's move into some trivia about the film Companion and learn some things about the behind the scenes, the productions, and the actors. No year is given in the film. However, Josh's phone reads Sunday, June 25th. Years this date falls on the 21st century include 2028, 2030, 45, 56, 62, 67, 72, 78, 2089, 2095. Honestly, from the way it feels, I could see it being 2028, a little bit more closer, because like with the way that things are, is like, oh, okay, like in three more years we could have a no, I don't know, maybe like 34. It still kind of seems closer to now with the way that the cars and the phones are, but with the way that the robot technology is, it's way more advanced than like what we got now. So I don't know, but with the way AI is going, I don't know. Like we could get there a lot sooner, maybe even 2028 than we were thinking, more into like the 30s. But who knows? I love that when a film does that, when it doesn't really tell you exactly like the year, or it leaves like things ambiguous like that, where there's something in like It Follows, where they have like that. The one girl has like the little like clam like thing that she's like reading with like her, I don't know, like her Amazon, not Amazon, what's it called, the Fire or whatever, the one device that just lets you read books. I forgot what it's called. And it's just like they never really talk about it, they never discuss it, and it's technology that's just like kind of out of place for like when it's supposed to be around set. And I like that in this too, where it's like maybe it's supposed to be today, maybe it's like an alternate version of today where maybe one little thing happened sooner where we were able to have robots quicker or something. I don't know. I always like when they leave it like a little ambiguous like that, like little things here and there. You don't always have to explain every little thing. There can be little things here and there where it's just like, yeah, I wonder what year it is. Sophie Thatcher can cry from one eye at a time on command, which was the delight of Drew Hancock, because I think there's a scene, where towards the end where she's having to keep her hand over the fire, and like there's just a single teardrop that comes from one eye. Honestly, I think little things like that actors can do. Like Bill Skarsgård can like move his eyes independently, like in It, when we see like that they kind of like defocus and they kind of like look off, and they can like he can do that naturally. Like it's such a weird little thing to do, but like it helps out in that creepiness. Like it's something that you would have to do in like as a special effect. Like you might have to do like some CGI to get that normally with any other actor, but with this guy, he could just do it on command, and it's like, ugh, just another reason why you're just a creep. And I don't understand why people love you so much. Like I don't know, you know what I mean? But I like when like actors have like little quirky things like that where they can do like this or they can do that. Like, oh, this so and so can actually bend her arm back like that. Like it looks like it's like broken. Or like another thing is like in The Hangover, Ed Helms, he actually does have like there's where he wakes up with like a missing tooth. He actually is missing that tooth in real life, and he has like a fake tooth there, and so they were able to take it out and like make it look like he lost his tooth. See, little things like that I think help and add to like a story there's little things that you can like actors can do or actors can't do, like speaking like a different language. That also helps too, I think, because it just adds to the story. It adds to their character. And it's just I like that idea of like, oh yeah, she can cry from one eye at a time, on command. Crazy. So Patrick is named after Robert Patrick, who played the T-1000 in Terminator 2: Judgment Day. He also puts on a police uniform and impersonates a police officer, like the T-1000 does. Honestly, I didn't put that together until I was reading about it, and I was like, "Oh man, I completely get it now." Like I'm so dumb for not even putting that together, because I don't think you like you sit there and you're like looking for things like that, but yeah, no, like unless you already like know who Robert Patrick is, and you remember that while you're watching the movie, then you'll put two and two together. But other than that, it wasn't until like after I was like, oh god damn it, I didn't even think of that. That's pretty smart. I like when they throw in little things like that where like a character will be named something or like will dress a certain way. It's just a reference to something else. And I think this was a pretty good little like reference to Terminator, especially with the way that he acts in this film, more aggressively, like looking for somebody. That's perfect. It's like exactly that's except he does emote more than I think Robert Patrick does as the T-1000. There are little hints throughout the film to foreshadow Iris and Patrick that as robots. Josh repeatedly refers to Iris using the nickname Beep Boop, which are sounds you'd expect like an old school robot movie to like a robot in a movie to make. The eponymous companion's name Iris is just Siri spelled backwards, which I didn't even get until I was reading about that. I was like, oh my god, I'm so dumb. And it could be a shout out to the thriller, the movie App, which came out in 2013 about a malevolent computer program. It's also named Iris, which maybe not so much. I think it's more that it's like Siri spelled backwards, if anything. And then towards the beginning of the movie, when everyone's dancing inside the house, Patrick does the robot dance, which is obviously fitting for him because he's a robot. We learn that later that he's a robot. And it's just little things here and there. And, you know, I think I kind of knew that she was supposed to be like something from the trailers, kind of a little bit. And then like from things that they say in the movie, they're like I don't think they are saving the exact twist, but they're doing it in a way where it's like you could totally pick up from what they're saying and like what they're talking about, referencing. That it's like, yeah, something's up. So she's got to be like a robot or something. If you didn't get that right away, which I mean, it is subtle. It still is subtle, but I feel like most people would have got it from just like the like little things that they say here and there, and like what's her name? The one friend, she just her Katie, I think, her disdain for Iris right away, and kind of translates to, from something. I mean, unless she's just like, yeah, these white people are crazy, which you can see. Well, let's go on to the kill counter. Kill counter. We arrived at the kill counter. This is the part of the podcast where we go through the kills and deaths in the film. Companion has a total amount of 7 kills and deaths in the film, along with 1 robot. I normally don't count like non-humans, like ghosts, zombies, dogs, people off screen unless it has a point to like that's part of the story, like it's integral to the story. So that's why I'm gonna count the one robot that dies. But that's just because it's important to the story. Other than that, I probably would have not counted it. But let's jump right into the deaths and kills. The first death we get in the film is Sergei. While Iris is out sitting by the beach, she tries to get Josh to go with her, but he's, giving some excuses. So she goes by herself, and Sergei meets her down there too. He's talking about things, and, eventually, tries to take advantage of her to the point where, like, he knocks her down. He gets on top of her. She's struggling, but turns out she has a switch knife in her pocket. So she takes it out and she stabs Sergei, spilling blood all over her face. She gets covered, and that's when she decides to go back to the house just because she's like, I don't know what to do, but he was assaulting me, he was attacking me. And that's when Josh, does the Iris, go to sleep. And then we find out that major twist of her being a robot. The next death we get is Eli. When him and Patrick go out hunting, after we've learned that, not only is Iris a robot, but also Patrick. Iris has escaped into the forest. Eli and the rest of the group, Katie, Josh, and Patrick, they all decide to go after her. Eli and Patrick go one way, and they start talking about like how he loves him, and like they both tell each other how they love each other no matter what, even though that he's a robot or whatever. And then he took Sergei's gun out of the safe, and he's got it with him. So they're going after Iris. Iris is trying to hide from them, but she accidentally makes a sound. I think she like snaps a twig or something. They go around to find her. She struggles with Eli for the gun and gets away from him, but then they fall down not a cliff, but like a side of the I guess there's a little ditch that they fall into, and then they struggle with the gun, and she accidentally shoots him in the chest in self-defense, and just decides to leave from there. She leaves, and she says sorry to Patrick, and then just flees out of there. And that's when Josh and Katie are alerted to her, Patrick's location, and then that's when Josh decides to override Patrick's thing and make him his companion now. Next up, we got once Iris is able to get back to the house, she gets in the car, which at first she thinks she can just start the car, but it turns out it needs Josh's voice to start it. As Josh is trying to break into the car, she opens up the settings and starts messing with the pitch of her voice and the range of her, or like the depth of her voice, just her voice settings, and is able to mimic Josh's voice and get the car started and going. But then Josh is able to find Sergei's phone, call, and report it stolen, so it stops the car right off the side of the road. That's when a police car comes by that has Deputy Hendricks in it, and he goes to investigate what's going on because he sees the blood, and he sees her. I think she saw like a handcuff or whatever. I'm not sure. No, I don't think so, but she's like barefoot and stuff, so he's concerned. He goes to her, and she changes her language setting because as the companion robot, she can't lie. So in order to hide that, she switches to German, and he's asking her questions. He's not getting anything, but then he like notices that she has like a knife and everything, and then he's like, "Whoa, I gotta take you in. Like, let's go back to like the place where you were. Like, what's going on? Like, let's go investigate." And that's when Patrick pulls up, and his aggression level has been set really high. And instead of trying to like ease the conversation, he just takes Deputy Hendrix's gun, and he just beats the ever living shit out of his face with the gun. Just bam, 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 smashing his face multiple times, and just God, it's like crazy. And then he throws the dead body in the trunk along with Iris, and he shuts her off, and yeah, this is like the most violent thing in this film, and it's just like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. Like his aggression, yeah, it was just it's just like, whoa, chill out, dude. The next death we got is Kat. Sorry, I think I was calling her Katie earlier, but it's Kat. She, just sees that things are going completely off the rails with Patrick killing Deputy Hendricks and pursuing like Iris and throwing them in the trunk and getting them, and then the death of Eli, and things are not going as planned, and she's just seeing that Josh's callous like nature for anything that's going on. So she decides, I'm taking my money, I'm going and leaving. But as she's leaving, Josh is telling her to stop. Like, don't leave him. Don't make him do it by himself. And then he tells Patrick to stop her. And Patrick, because of his aggression levels again, chooses to stab her in the back with a kitchen knife. And Kat's able to make her way to the couch where she slowly bleeds out, making this like, damn, like, cause she's able to, I think she pulls it out, and then she's just like, like looking at him out from the couch, as she's bleeding out, and then she just lays there and dies. And it's just like, damn, dude, man, this guy, he's getting himself into more and more hot water. So with Josh's plan going awry and so many people dying, he decides, you know what? I'm going to call the company that I'm renting Iris from, Empathics, and they explain to them, like, she went rogue, I don't know what it is. It's her programming maybe or something. So, like, you guys need to come out here. She killed herself or whatever. But in fact, like, he had her kill herself. And then as they're hauling her out, they kind of tell him that, Sid explains, because he's the one who's, I think, in charge. Or is it Teddy? No, it's Sid. That's right. And he's in charge, and he's like, hey, just so you know, like, yeah, she may have shot herself in the head, but, like, that's not where, all of her, like, circuits and everything, like, all of the stuff is stored in her chest. So the good thing is she didn't damage any of that. So we'll be able to pull up all the footage and just see what happened. And, from there, he's like, footage? Did you say? she recorded everything? And they're like, yeah, they record everything just in case, for, against any fraud or anything like that. We can always check it out and see. And so he decides to have Patrick, stop them. And, Patrick's aggression is all the way up. And so he does what he does. And as they're getting into the van, they turn on the headlights. Patrick's standing there, and he shoots Sid and several times through the windshield, killing him. Teddy's able to escape and get into the woods, and Patrick starts to chase him down and eventually runs into Iris. That's where, he tries to, or he attacks her. She tries to attack back, but since she's been rebooted, she can no longer, harm him, can't harm anyone. So he is about to tase her with a taser that she had because she couldn't use it. But she starts explaining, hey, like, you were in love with Eli, and like, this is what happened because of all this, he's dead now, and he loved you, you loved him. Like, you should be able to remember that. It should be somewhere in your memory, like, of him. And so he kind of does, and he starts remembering things. Like, he starts moving back and forth between, Eli and Josh and his memories. And that's when he, he's like, yeah, I can remember. And he ends up just killing himself, frying his whole circuitry with that what do you call it? A cattle prod. He sticks it in his mouth and he just zaps whole head and fries everything, and just like just completely destroys all the circuitry, and ends himself. And it's kind of sad because it's like, man, his whole life was just to love that other guy, and then another guy came in and was like, no, you gotta love me, and then you end up killing yourself. Sad. So anyways, yeah, so Iris, is able to find Teddy in the woods hiding, and she tells him, if you like, one way we can get back at them for, killing your friend, and you can escape, you take all the guardrails off me, and I can go back at Josh, and I can take him out. So that's when she goes back in, and she meets Josh in the living room, and he thinks that, he's still able to control her. He thinks he's able to, even get her with like, come on, like this is, we were in love and this and that. And then he, tries to just get her like to flip around and like, work for him or whatever, or like go with him, and like they can be like happy together. But then they start fighting, and Josh, gets the upper hand, even though like she's got her guardrails off. And just as he's about to like he's about to kill her, he's right on top of her, gonna like tear out her like systems and stuff or whatever. She gets the electric corkscrew that we saw earlier, and drives it into his skull and brain, and turns it, while he like puts it against his like forehead, right? And then like it presses the button, that's when it starts and pulling out all the bone and brain, and then he collapses, and he just dies, and that's how he dies. Like he gets his brains pulled out through a corkscrew, and it's just, I think it just like squirts out everywhere on her too, like the blood has splattered on her before when she stabbed Sergey. And it's just like, oh man, what a horrible death to have like a corkscrew go through your brain and pull everything out. But that's what he gets. That's what he gets for being a horrible person. And with that, let's get into my final thoughts on the film Companion. So this is the part of the podcast where I give my final thoughts on the film, and that film this week is Companion. So Companion, honestly, I hadn't really seen too many commercials going in or trailers, and I didn't really know too much about it. I knew Zach Cregger had some part in it. I thought he was directing. I thought he'd written it, but I guess he hadn't. And it turns out Drew Hancock is behind it, more so than I even thought. And Zach Cregger is just producing. And Jack Quaid is he's a pretty good actor. He's been doing The Boys. He was in Scream. He's been pretty good in everything he's in so far. It's one of those things where like it's kind of hard to like take Nepo babies seriously when they're not good. But it's like with Maya Hawke. Maya Hawke is a good example of, or Zoe Deutsch, right? Like they're good examples of like Nepo babies, and like because they're actually like talented. They actually give good performances. So seeing all this, and Sophie Thatcher's been pretty good. She was in Heretic, which was a pretty good movie from last year, and she's been in Yellow Jackets, which has been amazing. And so, I was like, all right, well, don't know too much about this film, so I went to go see it. and I am pleasantly surprised. I really liked this. I enjoyed it. I think the direction was pretty well done. The pacing of the film was pretty good. It it does kind of give the twist away with the her being a robot, but not really. Like it is like if you're paying attention, you can tell. Like because when I was paying attention, I was like, oh, she's a robot. And I think if you're really paying attention, you can get that right away. And I think though her performance is really well. I think she does a really good job of portraying this being that's not a human but is supposed to be like a human. And I think like all the actors are pretty good. I think the standouts obviously are Sophie Thatcher. I think Harvey Guillen, I can never pronounce his name right. He's from What We Do in the Shadows. He does a really good job too, and just a small little performance that he has. I mean, not small, but like the smaller part. I think because he was in Werewolves Within, kind of. He played a similar but different role. In that one, it was like a part of a gay couple, and they were like coming to this town to build, like more like a resort or something. In this, he's part of a gay couple, but obviously he has his own, companion. And like Lucas Gage, I think does a really good job too. He was in Smile too. He had a small part in that, but I think he really, I think he does a stellar job in this. Portraying this kind of like T-1000, kind of like he's ready to go catch her, like like dresses. He gets dressed up like a cop. Like we said, like I think he portrays that kind of roboticness when it needs to be, but not enough to where it's like he's like too stiff, or he's like he plays it still like he's a person who understands that they're robotic. I guess that they're an automaton. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like he does a good job. I think those three do the best and most outstanding like job performing in this. I think the girl who plays Kat, she's fine. I think, like I said, Jack Quaid, he's good. I don't think he's like got a standout performance in this like he does, and I think he portrays that like essence of like this is what whiny white entitled men are, and he plays that pretty well. Like this is what a lot of people have to combat day to day, because this is what entitlement looks like. Someone who's like, oh, I'm owed her love, I'm owed this because I don't succeed in life, and that's not my fault. It has nothing to do with me. It's all her. And I love this kind of undertone too, of like, yeah, like she's constantly having to like do what he says, do what the men are telling her to do, and they're in control of her. Like he keeps her intelligence at 40%. He he like has this main story for her, like where it keeps her very docile. And I think it's just like this kind of commentary on like men taking advantage of women, like Sergey, but it also like what's his name, it's Josh, that's right. Jack Quaid's name is Josh in this. Like the whole thing with like jailbreaking her and stuff, and like just everything he does is just like, that's like, just imagine like if this technology was real, how many people would abuse it like this? How many people would do this, where they'd be like, they'd want this women to be so submissive, so to the point where like, yeah, like they put their strength at like nothing. They put their intelligence at nothing. They don't want a real person, because a real person, like we see with Kat, constantly is challenging him. When we see Sophie to start off with, she's not like challenging him in any way. Like even when she like wants him, or Sophie, sorry, Iris, her character's name is Iris. When we see like there's a part where she wants him to go with her to like the beach, down to the beach with her, and she's like, "You promised, you said you would go," and then he's like, "No, I'm too hungover," and like he like especially challenging her, or commanding her. Sorry, not challenging. He's especially commanding her, like, leave me alone. I don't feel good. You go. And it's all just this whole thing is just a setup, because it's part of his intricate little plan. And he just doesn't want to have to deal with being told what to do. And we get to see that later. Kat does the same thing where as soon as she starts, or he does the same thing to Kat, like as soon as she starts challenging like what he's doing and what he's saying and how he's putting out this plan, it's just like starts breaking down everything, and then to the point where he's even manipulating the men. Like he manipulates his the Eli into helping, and then even when he reprograms Patrick, and like essentially wipes his whole drive, and plants these new memories. It's like it just shows that like these toxic men are manipulative in every way. They're just trying to get to the end goal of what they want, and what they want is just obviously nothing. In the end of it, it's like all he wanted was really, I think, what the end goal for him he thought was going to be was they were going to use Iris to kill Sergei, get Kat out of her. He's like, because he thinks he's saving her, that he's this weird Russian like mobster, but it turns out he's just like, I don't know, some regular old Russian guy who made money, or probably got money from his parents, and he's not really actually saving her. And he thought, okay, we'll use Iris, and we'll have Eli and Patrick as these kind of like as alibis. And then he can move in and, show Kat, like, quote unquote, like, look, you see, I'm your, like, white knight, and I saved you, type of thing. Like, oh, I deserve your love now because I saved you and I got you out of this horrible relationship, type thing. And it's just ridiculous. And this movie, though, it's a stellar like start to the year. If the year just continues with like movies like this, then I think we're gonna be in for a pretty good year, because this is, like I said, this is a pretty good film. I think I gave it 3.5 on Letterboxd, 3.5 stars. Pretty solid, rating. It's one that I could put on again and watch later. It's not one that I'm gonna go out of my way to watch or look out for, but it is one that I do recommend. So, like, if anyone's out there listening to this and you're already into the spoiler part of this, and you still haven't seen it and you're still wondering, go watch it. Honestly, it is one that I would say you don't have to see it in theaters, but if it's on, like, let's say it's on Max or on Netflix or Peacock or something, and it comes up, definitely check it out. Did you like The Twisted Companion? Did you see the twist coming? Should Sophie Thatcher be in more films? Hell yes, she should. We want to thank you all for listening, and if you like what you hear, please subscribe to get every new episode downloaded. Do you have any personal or fictional, paranormal or supernatural or unexplainable stories? We'd love to read them on the podcast. Please send your stories, recommendations, or anything else to horrorboxpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to show more support, you can follow our socials on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, or check out our YouTube channel, all at Horrorbox Podcast on all sites. Also, you can buy me a coffee at coffee.com/horrorboxpodcast. It really helps out. Until next time, Dom, go to sleep. This is Dom, signing off from the Horrorbox.
Everything's gonna be okay. What are you doing?
Oh, fuck, Ira's gonna...
You'll need an ice pack, and if there's any swelling, shortness of breath, wheezing, agitation, or drowsiness, take him to the emergency room, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, she's tied up inside, so she's not going anywhere.
Eli, Iris, shh, baby, you're on the phone. I can't hear.